What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a New Year's Day. Happy New Year edition of the Daily Juice Podcast with me, Matt Perrault at Sports Talk Matt. To follow me across all socials. This podcast being brought to you by our friends at omahasteaks.com. Today is our last day of this sale as we roll into the new year, the first of the year here. omahasteaks.com. Promo code is JUICE in the search bar. Saves you $30 off. Site-wide sale going on. Last day for it today. New offer begins tomorrow here for us with omahasteaks.com. Okay, so this will be kind of a quick podcast. I'm very happy to end 2024. I'm very happy to turn the page and to get ourselves into a different situation for a brand new year. Everything will be changing over, okay? So, brand new slate. We are now officially done with 2023. We, unfortunately, are going to end up about up 18 units for the year. That was at a high of 45. That's how bad this was. I mean, we just kind of fell apart. College football will wind up, well, depending how this ends up, we could wind up with the bets for 2023, but up 13.75 units. Hit below 60%, 60 and 41 in 2023 in college football. That's 59%. The NBA will end at 59.8%, 64 and 43, up 17.5 units in that. NFL will end up just a little bit down. We'll end up just a little bit down on, well, actually, no, I think we'll probably be still profitable on prop betting. Because we went 1 and 3 in prop betting. So 39 and 35 on prop betting. We'll wind up 56 and 52 in NFL betting for the year. NBA props wound up 52%. NHL continues to be just a little bit of a crapshoot for us. We're down 9 units in the NHL after being way up. Had a rough start to the season there. College basketball is down a couple of units there, 54 and 52. So we're at 51% in college basketball there. So overall, a winning year, but not nearly as good as we could have had it. We had a really good run there, and unfortunately, we wound up profitable, but we don't wind up getting ourselves where we were, which was up 45 units at one point. We've given over 20 of those units back over the last 6 weeks. So really tough year, really tough end of the year, but we head to January, new year, new slate, new start, 0-0, and away we go here on a brand new Monday. Now, there is no NFL today. Why? There is a ton of college football today. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch these games to see how it all plays out, okay? So let's start with the Alabama-Michigan game. We are already in for 2 units with Alabama plus 1.5. We made this bet a while ago. This number has not moved, okay? Alabama now, well, Michigan now is 2-point favorites at certain books, okay? Opened up a -2. Circa's at -2. Vegas is seeing action on Michigan. Plus 1.5 at DraftKings. Plus 2 at Caesars now. So there's movement on Michigan. Is that good? Well, kind of, yeah. Because I think the winner of this game, Alabama-Michigan, wins the national championship. So we may wind up losing 2 units on Alabama if Michigan winds up winning this game. Now, the best case scenario is a 1-point win for Michigan, obviously, because we're on plus 1.5. But let's see what happens here, because as this game plays out, it doesn't really matter. If Bama wins, that's great. We'll win 2 units. We lose a unit on the Michigan future, but we've made money. We'll be up a unit there, and then we can hedge off of it or play off of it for the national championship game. Michigan wins the game and beats Alabama. Well, then we're going to wind up getting ourselves into a pretty good spot, because we've got, obviously, the 11-1 ticket will be down to a 9-1 ticket after Michigan if they win. So that'll alternate a little bit, but we can probably just let it ride with Michigan and see how we come back and cash it with the Michigan ticket. So I'm pulling for Michigan here in this game. We've already hedged off of it, but I'm pulling for Michigan to win here the first semifinal. Now, that game is at the Rose Bowl. That game is a 2 o'clock Pacific time, 5 o'clock Eastern time kick. The nightcap is Texas at Washington. Let's talk about that game here in a second, because let's start with Iowa and Tennessee. If you want to bet under for Iowa, 36, be my guest, okay? I'm not going to say anything about it. I think it's a good play. I do. I think it's a decent move. Tennessee is without a ton of talent here. No Joe Milton, no Jalen Wright, no Jabari Small. I mean, they are down skill player after skill player. Iowa can't score on anybody, so it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback, it doesn't matter who's playing offense for the Hawkeyes here. If you want to play the under, go right ahead. We bet under all season long here for Iowa. And, well, it was profitable all season long. Iowa was 11-2 this year to the under, 9-1 over their last 10. They were 6-0 to the under away from home. So you want to bet under 36? Go right ahead. I will be too. But what have the Bulls taught us so far? It's been a place where favorites have gone to die, like literally gone to die. I don't know what to make of this. Iowa's had a lot of time to work on some stuff. I don't know if Tennessee wants to be in this bowl game. My gut tells me they do not. I don't think I can bet a total in this game simply because I think Iowa might be able to score. And if Iowa scores, Tennessee's going to score some, and we could wind up going over, and it winds up, 21-20 final, we lose. 23-17, we lose. Like, it's a bowl game. I can't, with good conscience, play a total, but +6 to Iowa is kind of the only thing I can really stomach here because I do think the under's in play. If the under's in play, Iowa's in the game, and Iowa could very well wind up winning this game. There were 3-3 ATS on the year. Iowa was 6-1 this season. They ended the year, on the road against Nebraska, looking pretty good. They beat Northwestern on the road on a neutral field. They lost to Michigan in the Big Ten title game, but that's not really any. They had a full complement of players for Michigan and a full complement for Iowa. The only thing I'm going to do is you can play. I mean, you can get really creative if you want. You can play a same game teaser, a 6-point teaser, Iowa +12, and then take the total from 36 up to 41 and play under. You can do that if you want. But officially, I'm just going to come in here with the Hawks. I'm going to take the +6 with Iowa, keep the game close, lose the game by a field goal, maybe win the game outright. You want to take Iowa money line? I don't hate it. This is a bigger game to Iowa. This is a bigger game to the Hawkeyes, and they've got their defense ready to go against a depleted Tennessee offense. We saw what happened with Florida State against Georgia. I don't think to me like a blowout like that, but what does Tennessee want to play for here? I don't really know. It's a bigger game for Iowa. I'm taking the Hawks. +6, Iowa, 1.1 units. Again, you want to fade these bets, go right ahead. But new year, new month, hopefully a new start in a new year for me here when it comes to where we are. Numbers-wise, officially Iowa +6 for 1.1 units. Second bet, let's go to Texas and Washington. I lean towards the over in this game, but it hasn't moved. 63.5, and it hasn't moved. That scares me. This game's been up for a month. Hasn't moved. Scares me. Don't know what to make of it. Makes me go, uh-oh. Let's stay away from the total. I think it's a high-scoring game, but it makes me worried that these teams have had this much time. There's been this much betting going on, and the books haven't moved. 63.5. That tells me something. It's a good number. It's the right number. Don't want to come near it. So who wins, Texas or Washington? I have doubted Washington all year long. I have questioned. I have doubted. I have made every case for why Washington just isn't there, and Washington's not that good. And I'm finally going to come around here and say, you know what? I'm going to buy the undefeated team. I'm going to talk about this lineup. I'm going to talk about this offense. I'm going to talk about Penix Jr. I'm going to talk about the wide receivers and say, you know what? Washington was 4-2 ATS away from home this year. Texas was 4-3, but that win over Oregon showed me something for Washington. They can play with anybody. Texas has been red hot. I totally get it. Their only losses to Oklahoma and on a neutral field. Everything else on the road, neutral, didn't matter. Beat Iowa State on the road, whipped Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game, had a great performance up against teams like Houston and Baylor and Wyoming. The win over Alabama was enormous, but it was week 2, and Jalen Milroe was not the same player that he is today. But I know everyone wants the rematch of Alabama-Texas. It doesn't always work out like that, does it? It doesn't always look as pretty. The number's 4. It's coming down. I'm going to take Washington. I'm finally going to buy this team. I'm finally going to buy into this offense and finally going to buy into their ability to move the football and their ability to throw against this secondary for Texas. It really comes down to the Texas secondary up against the Washington passing attack. And this is the number one passing attack in football, 343 yards plus per game passing for Washington. Texas's secondary gives up 240 plus yards per game. That is 84th in the country. Not good. They give up 35.8 pass attempts per game. That's 125th in the country. Teams know you can throw on Texas. Teams, are seeing a pretty good, 6.7 yards per pass play. Now that's not tremendous, but it's still pretty good. Washington, 9.2 yards per pass play, which is outstanding. And Washington will try to run the ball, but they don't really need to. Texas has a great run defense, but they don't have a good pass defense. And this is where Michael Penix comes in. This is where these wide receivers come in. I think that's going to be the difference. Big plays for Washington up against Texas, who are going to face maybe an underrated Washington defense. People really, including myself, have questioned this. It's hard to pass on them. 6.6 yards per pass play is 21st best in the country. They do give up 263 yards per game. Yes, Texas throws for 286 yards per game. That's top 20 in the country. They run the ball really well, 189 yards per game on the ground, but Washington only gives up 133 yards rushing. Texas might have a tough time moving the football here on Washington. I'm going to take the dog. Give me +4. Again, favorites have been getting worked. I'm going to go with the dog here. Washington +4 for 1.1 units. All right. So Alabama, Michigan, we're on both sides. We're happy with either team that wins. Alabama wins. That's great. That's an immediate payout. If Michigan wins, we got to wait a week as they get up into the national championship game, and we'll see what the number is for that. But we'll have a live ticket for Michigan to win the national championship at 11-1. So that's great. That ticket will be live for us there, or we'll have to give it up. So that's decent. Either side, Michigan, Alabama, doesn't matter. Iowa +6, 1.1 units. Washington +4, 1.1 units here today going. That's all I'm going to get into here with college football on a New Year's Day for today. By the way, good news on that 8.5 win total for the Steelers. They cashed that yesterday, so that was good to get that in. So overall, it was a 2-3 day on the 1 unit plays in the NFL for yesterday. Down a little bit there, and 1-3 for the prop bets, down a little bit there. So again, we end the year with a losing mark. We end the month with a losing mark. I'll go and calculate it all again here probably tomorrow if I have time to give you the full accounting of everything. But profitable year, just not as profitable as I wanted to be at any stretch in the imagination here, given where we were in mid-November when we were way up. And then from there, it was just an avalanche to the end of the year, falling flat on my face at the end of the year. Really tough. And I mean, my gosh, some of those bets were just brutal. Like some of them were just tough to watch. And I mean, the Falcons missed their first 2 field goals, and that was kind of like, it was dead after that. It was bad news. Had 2 bets riding with the Falcons yesterday, and that killed the day with the Falcons' inability to kick field goals, which is really weird. I don't think that was the wind either. I think just bad kicking woes and just maybe kicking outdoors, but I don't think the wind had much to do with the ball striking it upright and then missing a 45+ yard field goal. And after that, I mean, it could have been a close game, and then it wasn't a close game, unfortunately. We did get my teaser right. We got that right. So yesterday was a 1-2 mark on the podcast, but the Wong teaser missed. I had +9 on the Dolphins. They got destroyed by the Ravens. Whew. Ravens are the 1 seed. Niners are the 1 seed. We'll see what the Ravens look like against the Steelers next week. Steelers are going to need that game desperately. Ravens will not. So could be a chance maybe the Steelers do get to 10 wins, which would be somewhat shocking given where they were. But 10-7 would be a hell of a year for Mike Tomlin. We'll see how he plays out. I'll be in the Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat. But officially, Alabama +1.5 for 2 units was made a while ago. Michigan 11-1 to win the national championship. That is still live. Iowa +6, Washington +4. Cross our fingers, see what happens, but it's been a really tough bowl season to predict here. If you want to fade both those bets, go right ahead. It won't insult me in the least. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt every single morning. Welcome to 2024. It is the Daily Juice Podcast, always being brought to you by OmahaSteaks.com.